Call this meeting over, please join me in the pledge of allegiance to the flag.
So we're allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. This is the Manchester Town Council meeting September 2nd, 2025. We do have a quorum. Approval of the current agenda. Jessica moved to approve.
Second.
Jessica, Amber seconded. All in favor of approving agenda as written, published, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Approval of the minutes from the July 28th, 2025 meeting.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes from July 28th, 2025.
Moved by Amber,
Second.
second by Jessica to approve the minutes from July 28th, 2025 meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Public comments from guests. Do we have any comments? Anybody wants to? Do you want to say anything from the food group? I know you're on with the agenda later, but I'm not.
I'd love to. Hi, I'm Amber Greystone. I'm from Liquid Banger, Wyoming, and we're here to support you in your declaration for Hunger Action Month. In Sheridan County, 13% of your neighbors are food insecure, which means that on any given day, they're choosing between paying a car payment or rent or for healthcare, rather than nutritious food. And one of the things that the Food Bank of Wyoming has been able to do with the support of your community and with your community pantries is over the last calendar year, distributed 245,000 pounds of food to your neighbors in need. And often those neighbors didn't need food yesterday. An emergency has come up, or a grandparent has come to town and someone's gotten sick. A lot of times when we think of food insecurity, we think of people who are often needing public services. And in Sheridan County, you're lucky, if you will, that that's not the case. Often we are feeding together as a group, feeding those neighbors who are only going to need that a couple of times in their lifetime. So thank you so much for having me here, and thank you for coming together to notice what's being done in your county and also to be supportive of Hunger Action Month. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Any comments? Any comments from the public? Okay, old business. We don't have any old business. New business. Tongue River High School Booster Club advertisement. We do this every year to support the Tongue River community students. We have a banner at the school for activities. We're listed in Booster Club activities. We usually do the grade level, which is kind of the middle level, for $325. So, anybody?
I'll make a motion to approve, supporting the TR High School Booster Club with $325.
A second.
Great.
Randy, okay, Randy seconds to approve the Booster Club advertisement. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor of supporting the Booster Club, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Hunger Action Month proclamation, and I do have the proclamation. I don't know if I'll read the whole thing, but I think she covered it quite a bit here, Amber. Thank you. 2025 Hunger Action Month, whereas this month communities across the country are remembering more than 47 million Americans suffering from hunger and food insecurity. And whereas in Wyoming, more than 90,000 people, nearly 27,000 of which are children, struggle to meet the basic nutritional needs to know where their next meal will come from. And whereas the month of September has been designated Hunger Action Month in order to bring attention to food insecurity in our communities and to enlist the public in the movement to end hunger by taking action, including volunteer shifts, social media shares, and donations, to ensure every community and everybody in it has the food they need to thrive. Now, therefore, I, Peter Clark, Mayor of the Town of Manchester, Wyoming, do hereby recognize September 2025 as Hunger Action Month. and encourage all citizens of Rancho to increase their understanding and awareness of food insecurity and how it impacts our nation, state, and communities. In witness thereof, I heard you set my hand and cause this official seal of town of Manchester to be affixed on the second day of September 2025. So that's the proclamation.
Motion. I'll make a motion to approve.
Jessica,
I'll second.
second by Amber to approve the proclamation. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor? Say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Mayor's report. I was interviewed by Wyoming Public Media about the property tax, how they affect the small towns in Wyoming. And during that process, I did do some, preparation for it. I did find the Seoul Wyoming Association of Municipalities information sheet. It's somewhat dated now. I couldn't find a new one, but it gives you an idea that we get approximately, we pay in $3,100 in taxes and get $27,000 back in goods and services. So that's just something information that we have. I attended the FEMA crisis management training at the county. I did pass the course, which is everything. Chamber, I went to the Chamber's Government Affairs presentation on gambling revenues, which is also a very complicated issue and potentially. I know it's a lot of money out there. We don't get much from gambling as far as the town does. I mean, it's mostly where the betting parlors are. There is an LGLP board member at large for the Wyoming limited liability pool. If anybody's interested, you can apply for that position. We'd have to vote on you being a member of the LGLP.
When is that due?
By the October 15th. So if you're, I think Jessica's been in the past, so if you have any questions, you can answer those. And with the community center, the town of Rancho and the community center are facilitating with the businesses in the community to try to form a business association to find a direction in which to move businesses, coordinate activities in the valley. And it's not just Rancho, we've tried to include Dayton too, because I see the whole valley as one large business community. So we'll do that.
Mayor, a question on that. Is that going to be kind of its own nonprofit or?
We'll have to decide. This is just the initial stage. Yeah, we're just coming up with an idea and see where we go with that. So they've had them in the past. They've kind of fizzled. We had them in the past, probably 20 years ago. It was a requirement for a grant we were looking for to acquire property for development, and that it just fizzled out. So.
With a lot of businesses coming in.
Well, yeah, there's potential. So it's just trying to coordinate. We're trying to facilitate that discussion, dialogue within the valley. So. I think that's all I have. Report on projects. Well.
Evening, Mayor and Council. Start out with the first one there, the pathway to 100% design. We did get some review comments back from YDOT on October 25th. WWC is going to answer those, and I believe they're got comments back to them already, so we'll see where that goes. The Tongue River Pathway Phase 1 construction. If anybody's from west of town here, I'm sure you've seen them. Got started on that, strip the topsoil, getting down to subgrade, and their first pour is planned for September 16th out there for the first 100 yards of concrete. So that's kind of exciting to see that finally going. Planning to be done with it this fall, end of October, beginning of November timeframe. So the TAP grant for phase 2 on the pathway, still haven't heard anything back on that yet. Should be hearing something pretty soon here within the next month or so. The 12-inch transmission main water line, all of the water line is in the ground and operating from tanks clear down to the water treatment plant. They've gotten all the wet wells in for the high service pumps and low service pumps, and we're all in. So now it's going to be pouring concrete and get buildings put up, and then all the electrical work will start with all the controls and getting all that installed. I don't know, hopefully, we're waiting on some of the control panels to be here. It takes them quite a while, so there might be a stop work order this winter if they can't get them in soon enough, so. But the pump showed up like 6 months before they were supposed to, so that was kind of nice, so. On the grants and loans part, the ARPA funding and the water development funding, that kind of follows along with the transmission main there, so all of that's moving along just fine. The emergency generator, we did get that ordered. Going out and getting quotes right now from electrical contractors to have that installed, so. That'll be hooked up to the high service pumps, the low service pumps, and the water treatment plant itself. And hopefully that can get all taken care of while they're down there and have everything tore up already. So gonna get it all done at one time. And we will be, the alternate water source study, we'll have to probably gonna be doing an RFP on that in the next, I'd say, month or two. And get that rolling, so. And on the subdivisions down there, Stoners Meadows Phase 3, they have some of the warranty work still working on. They have to tear out some asphalt and recompact some stuff around some water valves and manholes out there. And a handful of other things, so. But they're still coming along, so. With that, if you have any questions on any of those.
Have any questions for Will?
Okay, thank you.
What's the report, Spencer?
Mayor, council. Been a little bit since I've seen you guys. In the last month, it was a pretty average month call volume wise. Most of the calls are pretty average with dog calls, filthy premise calls. We've seen a kind of an increase in speeders. I think that, I don't know, people are just getting in a hurry to get off and back up to the mountains and stuff, but they don't seem to be paying a lot of attention when they hit Ranchester. Some of the kind of highlights of that is one driver was going 47 miles an hour after they passed 30-mile-an-hour speed limit signs, including one flashing at them to slow down. Looking at some options for maybe adding some electronic signs or at least a mobile sign that kind of move around. And that way people don't get desensitized to it. We can move it around and maybe it'll have better value. Has some abandoned vehicles. I'm trying to make sure that we get those off the street before we have snow flying, and we're starting to do snow removal, so I'm trying to stay on top of that. Had an indecent exposure incident in one of our parks. The culprit was a teenage boy. He was identified, parents contacted. Don't believe that's going to be a problem again. It was nice to be able to, know for certain that we were talking to the right person. He did fess up to what he was doing, so don't need that in our parks. Kind of a scary call that we've had recently was fireworks. The reason why I say that's scary because it's been windy and dry. We don't really need another, big fire. In addition to that, we had several canine call outs. One of some pretty notable ones. So we had one from Sheridan Police Department as a request for Canine Fred to search for a stolen firearm. They knew 2 firearms had been stolen from vehicles. They caught the people burglarizing cars and stealing the firearms, but they ditched one of the firearms before they were apprehended. It was a juvenile subject. I actually got a call. I was down at the Colorado Canine Conference. Got a call that morning. They said, "Hey, can you search for that?" So on my way home was listening to the radio. The juvenile subject involved was at the group home. He ran away from the group home, stole another vehicle, ended up in Montana, ended up in, I believe, multiple additional shooting incidents. Somehow found another firearm. So, I'm happy to report that, you know, my dog does firearms detection, so we can go out and look for this. We covered over 2.5 miles of area where they kind of lost sight of him, where they apprehended him. So we're able to check, you know, shrubs, bushes, all these areas that would just be, I mean, it would take probably weeks to hand check. But with the dog, we can send her in and, you know, check that one off the list. There's nothing in there. Go to the next one. She worked her tail off, quite literally. On that one, we did go by a daycare too. It was a daycare in that same area. And when we went by, they asked if we could go back and search their playground area. So after I ran her, cooled her down a little bit, and then I took her to the playground. All the daycare kids, there were about 30 kids from Sheridan, they all lined up and watched her work. Watched her search the playground, and then they all got Freya cards and stickers. So it's very memorable, very positive thing for the kids. They thought it was great. They really didn't know what she was looking for, and a lot of little kids, they just knew she was hunting for something. She found it, she was gonna get a toy. So we got that. Highway Patrol actually requested us for, it just kind of put us on standby. They were above Buffalo on Highway 16. There was an armed individual who was walking away from law enforcement, carrying a pistol, and he was walking into the forest. And, you know, they just asked for canine because if they were gonna have to enter the forest and look for the subject, they were gonna wanna kind of have something that might tip them off when they were getting close, or what location, or if the person had backtracked or circled around them. And that's one of the big features of having the dog. We were canceled prior to getting to Buffalo. We were just getting off the off ramp on the interstate, and he gave up and came home. Crook County Sheriff's Office also requested canine for a missing person. She's actually missing out of South Dakota, but her vehicle was found in Crook County, Wyoming. And they just really didn't know where she might have gone from her vehicle. Deputy Marshal Canine handler Callan Brothers responded to that. He took 3 of his dogs with him. He's got multiple dogs trained in different things, tracking dogs, area search dogs, you know, multiple dogs. And really, the thing about it, especially with this heat, a dog can only go so far before you're going to need to give him a rest. So by having multiple dogs, you can swap them out. He was unsuccessful, but you know, at least even being unsuccessful, you can eliminate a lot of search areas that you know, you can send your people resources to other areas, and that's always helpful. Speaking of Deputy Brothers, we just kind of heard through the community, somebody was recently saying, oh my gosh, why is the town of Manchester have another canine? Why are we wasting money on all these dogs? It's expensive dogs. They are expensive dogs. But Canine Freya and all of Callan's canines, they've been purchased by us, the handlers. They've been trained by the handlers at no cost to the town. We lease our dogs to the town for $1, and then we work our dogs. You know, the only thing we're really kind of asking for in return is, you know, if they do incur some vet bills while they're working, you know, we get those covered. But you know, it's a great way to have a canine program. It's a great way to be, you know, we're a small, tiny little law enforcement department community, but we're having Crook County, Weston County, Campbell County, all these other places, you know, ask us for help or Highway Patrol. And those are the people that I have to ask for help as soon as I need backup. As soon as I'm making a traffic stop, you know, one of my recent reports had almost 2.5 pounds of THC marijuana products in town. It was really nice to be able to ask another agency to come back me up, so I'm not dealing with that multiple people on a traffic stop all by myself. So I do appreciate that you as a council in town allow us to run these dogs and have this service, and you know, gets our name out. Worked varying hours, different shifts, some weekends, some nights. Attended the Colorado Canine Conference with Deputy Marshal Brothers. That conference, there was a full day of it that was just law enforcement legal updates. So even though it's a canine conference, there were people presenting, talking about just all kinds of case law and law enforcement, how it's changing, different policies and procedures, use of force, things, and stuff. So it very invaluable training. It's very, very cheap for that kind of training. In addition to that, obviously it's canine conference, so there was some canine detection training, some tracking training. Callan attended the apprehension because one of his canines is an apprehension and narcotics detection canine. So he worked on a lot of different areas. Some of the instructors after the conference was over, they stayed behind and trained us just because we wanted more training. And they traveled across the country. They were happy to find people that, didn't need to run home. We weren't gonna drive home in the dark, so we were staying there another night. So we're the trainers, so they gave us extra training, which was pretty neat to see. They were just happy to find people passionate about training dogs. In addition to that, last week, I don't know, it's all blurry. Recently we hosted a trailing, just basically tracking, canine workshop. Had 2 instructors come up from North Carolina to Manchester. We had teams from Albany County Sheriff's Office that attended, Natrona County Search and Rescue Team. Canine team was actually 2 canine teams, 2 dogs he brought. There was a handler from New Jersey that was signed up to come. She's actually gonna host her own class now. There was a handler from New York that was supposed to come. Callan wasn't able to come over to Gillette because of some family medical issues. But it was a very successful canine tracking training. We did tracks in the town of Manchester. We did some in the Bighorn Mountains. And we spent almost a full day at the VA hospital. So it was really neat. We've done some lost patient drills with the VA. The VA police were very happy to be around, see some of the tracking. They definitely asked us if we can just come back and train with them on a more regular basis. Those guys are super interested in, if they have a lost patient or somebody that they need to find, they would love to have us help them out with that. It's another partnership we can have, more reset sources. It also, as a law enforcement officer, you have to have so many training hours to maintain your certification. So this all goes towards those training hours, which is a great thing. Got some. I'm gonna show you guys. So my focus for Canine Freya, while we were at this class, was just about getting better. We've got a lot of certifications on the wall. And we wanted to just work out and do difficult things and get better. The first top thing is just a backtrack. That's where, somebody's leaving a trail. And basically, where you get better is you start tracking people that don't want to be found. And they may know that dogs are after them, and they may be doing things to try to throw the dogs off. One of those common things is backtrack. So the dog has to find the end of the track, go back on their own. And the method of these instructors is you don't take the dog back. Obviously I see the end of the trail. I can stop, I can walk the dog back and see if, ask her to hunt for something else. I can be a person that influences it. But that is not their training method. Their training method is you just sit there and you wait and you let the dog figure it out. So that way the dog never comes to you for the answer. The dog gets the end of the trail, the dog is going to use their knowledge and their resources, their nose, things that we don't have, to go find it on their own. The next page is just a track that one of the people left that Freya had to go find. This was just short of a mile long. As you can see, they did all kinds of funny things to try to throw her off, including a backtrack at the end, a lot of circles, and that big circled area. They were climbing through a fence, they were climbing over fence, all over the place. And basically a lot of canines cannot, they hit that that area, and it's a huge 100-yard area, and somebody has walked every which direction through it. And the dog just gets so overwhelmed and confused that the dog never makes it out of that area. They just sit there and wander around, wander around. So the dog has got to figure out how to get to that outside area and work their way out of it and try to find that exit track. That one track out of 50 tracks in there, you gotta find that one that leaves the area. She was able to find it. Some of the other town crew guys were there and they were pretty impressed to watch it. That track was over 2 hours old. That's another thing that makes things very difficult for a dog. Odor only lasts so long. A lot of that was out in the direct sunlight on gravel roads, dirt. You know, there's a lot of road crossings in there too that you can see where they basically zigzagged across a gravel mountain road. All of those things can really throw a dog off. In the end, she never really worked the backtrack. She was working out the backtrack. And the wind kicked up in her favor and she was gonna go jump off a cliff because she could smell the guy on the other side of the cliff. We went around the cliff. He could have made it, but I don't know about me, so. Yeah, it was just, I can't say enough about the training was amazing. She learned a lot of great things during it, so. Also, you know, working her with other teams around the state, it helps us know like kind of where we're at training wise and ability wise. And I still, but I've still not found a K9 team that is better than us. So we're happy that the Sheridan Press reported that we're the best, and I believe we still are in Wyoming. Now, I have to say that while the instructors were here, one of the instructors' dogs has us definitely beat, but it is a little hound and it's traveled across the world tracking and stuff, so I'm sure she could get second place. Yeah, without any questions, comments?
Any questions, Sir Spencer?
No, just, okay. You mentioned that you have so many hours you have to do. Was this a mandatory thing you went to, or was this just like a camp?
It's a workshop that I hosted.
Okay.
Thank you for.
Any other questions?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Spencer.
Special committee reports, so the Timer Valley Joint Powers Board, the next meeting is September 18th at 4 p.m. here at Ranch Hills Town Hall. Do you have anything from the fire district?
Mayor, council, Jeff Barron, chief of River Fire, got a few things to report, it's brief. We had 28 calls for service since the last time I was here, 7 of which happened over this weekend. One notable one was on August the 2nd, we had a fatality in a construction zone up on the highway. Heads up when you get on one of those calls, one thing we had to deal with was traffic, getting traffic control set up and folks not slowing down and paying attention, so don't rubberneck when you're next to an incident. The call this morning, rollover accident on 345. Luckily did not end in a fatality, but certainly could have had if injected, so. I do have 2 new members on my roster. I had to purchase 2 new sets of bunker gear. Just for a frame of context, that costs about $10,000. So that's one of the bills that we have to pay to outfit our folks. So we be mindful and reuse what we can, but sometimes when you get turnover, stuff just doesn't fit the new folks. Got to get new stuff in. We did have wildland fire operations training. We had 10 in attendance. We do plan to have some training with Wyoming Med Flight and extrication training, so you're aware that we're keeping up on all of those. We do have some equipment maintenance coming up. I do have to bring one of the fire trucks for a recall notice on airbags up in Billings. I'll do that this weekend. On the new fire truck, it's been delayed a little bit. I do have folks going up in the middle of September to evaluate the truck, go through the punch list. We should, any luck, get the truck here during Fire Prevention Month in October. And then hope to have a groundbreaking and ceremonial thing to congratulate my board and all the folks with the hard work into getting that. On the last part of it, I do want to bring up something that was of note. My board has been watching council and has some concern about a no vote that's coming in because it violates the agreement between the town and the fire district for fire service. When you don't pay the bills, that's a contractual obligation. And so my board has some concern. And they'd like to understand what council's position is on fire protection for the town. Do we want to continue with the agreement we have in force, or do we need to make some recommendations for a change or difference? And with that, I open up for comment from the council.
Any questions or comments from Chief Barrett?
I think we'd like our protection. I mean, I've never used it, but well, thank you.
I think we do. I think we've done a great job with that.
Thank
I
you.
mean, fire protection, I mean, I've watched movies about it. It's nice to have buckets and go there. It's also nice to have a hose. I mean, those are necessary things, you know, I don't see, that's, I've never used a person ever in my life. But I'm blessed. I hope I never do.
Well, great. Well, thank you.
I mean, and like the cars, and my boy works on those record deals. I understand with him. He's almost hit many times.
Oh, yeah.
It's a rough deal. People don't slow down. I mean, yeah, that's a rough deal. And
Oh,
so
it's
anytime you're in those deals, that's, gotta commend people. I want to go out there and do that. My son gets tired of it.
Love stuff. Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
I know that. Western State Insurance. Town would be in a lot of trouble if we didn't have fire protection. The residents would. Their insurance would, yeah, that'd be a very difficult thing for our town folks to get insurance if we didn't have fire protection.
No, we take it seriously. I mean, obviously with the ISO rating, we do as best we can to make sure that rating is as high as it can be, or as low as it can be to afford that. The best it can be, let's put it that way. All right, well, if there's no other questions,
Congratulations. How many do you have on your total roster now?
26 now on our roster.
That's quite a bit now.
Yeah, and we're well staffed.
That's good.
We've got coverage across almost all the weekdays as well, which is helpful.
That's good. Okay, well, thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Okay, approval of treasurer's reports.
So I have a report, I did make a couple of transfers, and that was for, moving money that was in the general fund to the Northern Underground escrow account. And the other one is just moving from express bill pay back into the general fund. Those were the two moves that happened.
Questions on the treasurer's comments?
Like to approve the treasurer's report as presented.
Second, moved by Jessica, second by Randy to approve the treasurer's report as presented. Any comments? Any comments? All in favor of approving the treasurer's report, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Go ahead.
Also, as for an update, I have the F-66 that is being submitted. You have it with you. I gave everybody a copy. So you can look at it. This is the F-66 report that goes to the audit department every year, and then it's made public to everybody. So but I just put that in there for your, like, so you can see the distributions and the revenues and expenditures.
Yeah, it's just so to give you background, it's a census report, so it doesn't necessarily always line up exactly category wise with how we report things. So if you have any questions, be sure to ask Barbara and see where some of those numbers come from. So.
And we actually have the CPA, who's doing our full audit. He actually put this into his thing this year, so it was way less time. So he did it, and he's almost complete with our audit. So we're having our full audit should be complete within the next couple of weeks. So
Will we have that to look at before next meeting?
I think he'll probably come in for it.
Oh, good.
Okay.
We should be glad when that's over.
You'll see some adjustments on the bottom of that, and that's just because there was stuff in the system that's really old. And he was able to like help me to put those in the right places. But just thought that we did way before I first started working here, just on some of the top side. of This one, so that would be adjustments are about them. So, but yeah, it's definitely everything seems to be lined out. Obviously, cash, that's the first thing that we look at, and that's all about the first time we look at it. So cash is all good, everything's all good. So
That's
but
nice.
with a full report for all the single fund of it, so.
Thanks, Barb.
Oh, okay. Moving on to approval of the warrants. And this was, looked really big, because we had 75% of it is, payments for the water project. So it's, with a total of little over $1 million, $750,000, approximately $750,000 of that comes straight out of for our grants and to do the water projects. It's pretty intimidating. Other than that, it's pretty much normal as far as size and everything. They factor out that one, it's 2 large payments. It was an unusually long period between some meetings this time. So I'll get a little bit more on that than we normally would.
Like to make a motion to approve the bills in the amount of 1,000,007. Well,
I'm gonna use it.
yes, $1,007,106.05.
Second, maybe just immediately to approve the warrants. Any discussion? Yes, sir.
So. Councilmember Weaver asked me if I would make an amendment to pull a couple off that we could vote on, and I guess. Yeah, I'd be willing to do it because as the fire chief, I'm not voting against things that we need. I think there's things that we're involved with we're not supposed to have, and that's what I'm voting on. One of them would be the economic development plan. If we could pull that off and do a vote on that, where I'd vote no on that. 1.4 million people travel through Shoshone every year. It has a gas station. That's all it has. A guy went in there and bought all the gas stations and put in a really nice one. For 6 years, they tried to bring in business, and the business still comes in by opportunity. We're blessed with the opportunity that we're by the interstate and we have Sheridan. They have tried to give away the old bank. They don't have a bank anymore. They used it for their city services for a long time, and after many years, they finally have a doctor that's going to come in there and do some services in there. But other than that, there's not a lot there with 1.4 million people going through there. I don't think we need to raise this $27,000 worth of service costs that we take down by these kinds of things. So I could pull that out. I would vote no on that, and I would vote no also on the walking path. Another one of those things, Jackson, Wyoming was the first one to put in a walking path. One of the, if not the first, one of the first, and they put it from the town out to the airport. Was it successful for Jackson? Sure. Try to get a motel room over there. I tried to because Arnie Jurgensen and I are gonna have a meeting together, but I don't quite have deep enough pockets to pay $500 a night for a motel room. So we're gonna do it when it's cheaper. They have funds off of those taxes at a motel, and it should go there, and then people that are enjoying their working from home thing in Jackson, they can pay for that path. I wouldn't support that, and I never did support those two things. You let me vote no on those, and you guys vote yes, and I'll vote yes on the rest of the expenditures. I don't have a problem with that.
Mr. Mayor,
Mhm.
Council Hubbard. The pathway project, which I appreciate your concerns, but isn't that already
It is.
obligated money through
Yeah.
contract?
That doesn't mean I'm gonna support it. I agree. So is the Ayers deal, that is too. I was against it from the beginning. I haven't changed my position. I still am.
But
I-
those studies, maybe you're not aware of, maybe you are. Those studies, if we don't proceed with those, then future grant money for the town isn't given. We can't apply for it because that's step one is producing these studies.
I think that Ranchester should be a town that produces freedom and an opportunity for people to come and keep the overhead low so we can have family businesses and things like that. When you start doing these other things, I'm not much for grants. I just investigated. I'm not a smart person. I'm very dumb. You're right. But I did go to a town that I'm not, okay, I'm ignorant because you said I don't know. So I did go and,
You're not aware.
Great,
okay. Okay, but that, however it is, it doesn't bother me. I am, but I did go study a town that was a vibrant community about 30 years ago, and it has a factory in it with 100 employees. And at that time, or take Grable, over 1,600 people. It has a big grocery store, it has a hardware store. They just tore down a motel and put in a Dollar General. They don't have that many more people than us, but they have something we don't have. They got a area, and all businesses always said it's location, location, location. Ranchester's location is off of Sheridan. And so we're getting the overflow of that. Grable has a nice hardware store. We have a workout gym. They got a Dollar General that's going in after they tore down a motel because they're on an island there and there's people that come in there and their population is much bigger than ours. It's not the government's duty to buy and sell winners and losers. It's the government's duty to make a playing field that is free, that people want to come. There's a lot of business I'd like to start it here, but now as the overhead has gotten more, I can't. And I would have started a family business here. And now I'm, like you said, I'm ignorant and getting old and I'm about done. So I ain't going to. I'll go somewhere else, which is cheaper.
Raised in a small town that was heavily military focused, and the military left.
Mhm.
Did not do anything to help keep the town alive. It is dead.
The town that I was telling about is dead and it's got a factory that still employs 100 people. And guess what? When I was there 30 years ago, they just brought in 15,000 people to a threshing show. And the town cannot run anything. The restaurants are gone. There used to be 2 or 3. They're gone. There's no gas stations now. And so it's the same thing, but they have 100 people that work right in that town. It's the same scenario. It's not the town to do it. When it dries up, you can go to Lodge Grass. I go to church up there. They had a bowling alley. They had a hardware store. They had all kinds of things. Now they have a grocery store. The interstate went around it. It died. And it isn't up to town to make it bad. The freedom of that, if there's an opportunity, they'll come. The Family Dollar here didn't come because Ranchester bought them off. They came because centrally located, it's off from Sheridan, it's close to interstate. It wasn't viable for Dayton, certainly not viable for Parkman. But yet if they come to Ranchester, all the roads come here to go to the interstate, they're gonna pull in Parkman, they're gonna pull in those things, go down south and watch where Dollar Generals are going in down south. I do travel a little bit. I watch where they put them in at. They do it strategically for a reason. And the towns try to stop them. So,
Manchester's the fastest growing community in the state.
it's an offshoot of Sheridan. What if Sheridan dies? Then this won't. I mean, it can go the other way. I was here for a long time. This place boomed way back when. I mean, where I live was because of a boom. And it can go the other way. With Ramaco here, probably won't. And it won't be because of Ranchester, it'll be because of Ramaco, because of a business that came in here. That's what'll make it go.
Okay. Any more comments? So I'll amend the motion to, well, how would we do this? So we vote on everything but the Ayers Associates and the Engineering Associates. With a nay vote for, I guess, for
Yes.
Councilman Aldrich. So however you heard that. So all in favor of vote of the motion. I'll have it amended, get an amended motion first. So amended saying that there be separate on the errors and the engineering associates. So I'm not sure how to pull it out. Let's put it that way.
I wasn't, I wasn't sure how to do this, just Councilmember Weaver wanted this done, otherwise.
So you have, okay, what you'll do is we'll just go ahead and amend it, go against the errors and the engineering associates. I'm assuming those are the two that you want.
Today it is, yes, I'll live with those, yes.
So,
Nothing of it, yeah, nothing of it egregious there.
So all in favor of the motion? With the exception of, errors and engineering associates. Say aye. So.
Voting for the rest of the bills.
Vote for the rest of it. Aye.
Aye. Okay. All opposed to that? Same time? That part, all those in favor of errors and associates and the engineering part of the project, come on, go ahead and vote for that too,
To pass,
to pass, no?
Yeah, I think we have.
we need to vote to pass those or not to pass.
Yes, we.
Right. So. Errors and engineering associates. All in favor of paying those bills, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Various. Okay, now we get that. Then I'll straighten out the parliamentary procedures later on.
That'll take too long.
So, okay, payroll. And we say it's a long payroll period of time.
We'll make a motion to pay payroll at $66,338.13.
Brandy, some like Amber to approve payroll. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Future agenda items. Anything on your minds that we can work on? Adjournment.
We'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Adjourn. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, same sign.